Hello everybody, welcome once again to another edition of Weekly Insight. My name's Michael Hennessy. I'm the pastor of Cornerstone Church here in Epping, Sydney, and if you're ever here in our area, come by and see us. Our services are at 10 o'clock every Sunday morning, and we have cell group meetings during the week. You are more than welcome to join us. You can find more about our church on going to the website cornerstoneaog.com.au. It's up there on the screen. I've been doing a series called Call to Reach, and we've just been discussing the various hindrances that stop people from fulfilling their call to reach people. And we've covered a couple of hindrances. We've covered the hindrance of doubt in the first video we did. We covered the hindrance of distraction, and that can be a real hindrance as well. Now today, and finally, I wanted to cover the hindrance of disappointment. And disappointment is a real killer. Disappointment can stop people from being appointed because, as you all know, in English language, any word that begins with the word dis is the opposite of the word that it's representing. Disappointment is the opposite of appointment. Appointment is where you're appointed to do something, and disappointment will stop you from obtaining to that appointment, if that makes sense. I just want to share just a quick story. As you know, I'm a pastor here in Sydney. I also work as an electrician. I've got my own little business that I run. And sometimes as pastors, we can get really disappointed through lack of numbers. I was doing a job this morning, and the lady I was working for, she's a bookkeeper, and she attends a church up the road. And I was just asking, how's your church going? And she said, we've got about 120 people coming to our church. And I'm thinking, that's great, but inside I'm thinking, well, we haven't got that many in our church. And as you start comparing numbers, as you tend to do as a human being, it can lead to you being disappointed and thinking, what's the point of doing this anymore? And you want to give up. But the Bible is very, very, is a very, very practical book, and the Bible also addresses the issue of disappointment very, very clearly. And if you look in 2 Peter, let me just read this out to you. It says in 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 8, it says the following. It says, "But beloved, let not this one thing be hidden from you, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day." That really spoke to me, because, one of the reasons why we get disappointed is because we tend to look at things with the wrong perspective. But we have to look at things long term. We have to look at things the way God sees them. God sees a day as 1,000 years and 1,000 years as a day. We tend to look at a day for what it is, a day, because we see things with our own finite human perspective. But God sees things with his own perspective, and his perspective is always right. Our perspective is finite. His perspective is infinite. And I don't know about you, but I would prefer to look at things through God's eyes than my own. Because I know that when I look through things through God's eyes, I know I won't be disappointed and I will stay contented. The Bible also says in Proverbs, let me just read this verse out to you. It says in Proverbs chapter 20, verse 6, it says this: "Most men will proclaim each his own goodness, but a faithful man who can find?" Faithfulness is not a concept that's all that popular in the Western world, but it's in the Bible nonetheless. We are called to be faithful. We are called to run our race. We aren't called, to compare our success or our numbers or whatever we're doing with somebody else. When we do start comparing, we will get disappointed. But God has not called us to compare. God has called us to run our own race, hasn't he? He really has. And with that, and to be honest, I've worked in Estonia for 15 years, and I've met some people, and I've worked with some people who've got a pretty unique calling to reach people in their own way, and they were doing that very effectively. And there's people I've met in Australia also, and they also have a calling to reach people, and they also do that very, very effectively. And I've noticed that the common denominator found in everybody who is reaching people effectively is this: they are faithful to their calling. They don't get disappointed. They don't get upset. They don't stop, but rather they keep going. They're faithful because they can see things through God's eyes. They see things through God's perspective instead of through their own. Let me just finish on this. We are called. You are called. I'll say that again. You are called to reach people. You really are. You're called to make a difference in people's lives. And disappointment will try and stop you from being effective with that calling. But I just want to finish by saying this. Don't look at things through your own eyes. Don't look at results through your own understanding. But always just remember, God's perspective is the best perspective. Amen? A day is as 1,000 years to God, and 1,000 years is a day. God's perspective is the best perspective. And as you keep His perspective on things, you won't get disappointed, and you'll finish your race, you'll stay faithful, and you'll finish the race, and you'll get a massive big reward and a massive big pat on the back when you finally make it through the heavenly gates. And I'll see you up there. God bless you. We'll see you next time. God bless you. See you. Bye.